Welcome to the Energize Effect. This episode is incredibly special to me because it's not just something that I threw together overnight. Over the last 6 months, I've been digging into all of my journal entries from the last 5 years, putting together all my real raw notes from my own hypnotherapy sessions and all of my own healing. I've been laying it out in a way that shows you this version of me you see today is not who I was 5 years ago. And I know looking back in 5 years from now, I'm going to be a very different person than I am today also. But I wanted to share with you how I got to where I am today, because it hasn't just been this snap of a finger and this person is here. I had to dive so deep into beliefs that I had about myself. And these beliefs I didn't even know existed. They were running on autopilot and just controlling my life in so many ways. And one of the most common questions that I get asked from people on social media is, how did you do this? How did you grow your following? How did you get to where you are today? The truth is, I didn't just wake up one day and have it all figured out. I really had to build and heal and fight for this version of myself. I had to confront and overcome the very, very deep limiting beliefs that once kept me really small. And these beliefs made me doubt myself. It made me hide. I was scared to be seen and question whether I was good enough, worthy enough, or even capable enough to do this. The girl that I was 5 years ago would have never believed that I'd be here where I am today right now. She was drowning in low self-worth. She didn't believe that anything beautiful or good was even possible for her, or that she even deserved good things in her life. She didn't believe that she had anything important, valuable, or worthy to say. And if she did, she didn't believe that anyone would even listen. And if I'm being honest, some of those beliefs have actually resurfaced as I started taking the steps to create this podcast. The fear to just do it has been something that I have had to work through. And today's episode is a vulnerable, real story of me and my journey. I want to show you that it's proof that you can become anything you want to be. Because if you're feeling stuck right now, pretty much can guarantee you it's not because you're incapable, but it's because there are these very deep-rooted limiting beliefs that are still convincing you that you aren't good enough or can't do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the 12 limiting beliefs that I had to overcome in order to get here, and the breakthroughs that helped me actually break free from them. I'm Brittany Lane, your host of the Energize Effect podcast. I was convinced that success, freedom, and happiness weren't for people like me. That if I wasn't born into wealth or didn't have the right connections, I'd never really make it. But after I had my daughter, I started questioning every single belief that told me I wasn't good enough. And what I've learned is that the biggest thing that kept me from my dream life was me. My limiting beliefs ran my life on autopilot until I broke through them. Now I wake up excited with more opportunities and success than I've ever had. And I want you to feel the same. This podcast is no fluff, no filters, just raw, real conversations about breaking through what's holding you back so that you can wake up every day with an energized belief that anything is possible. Let's get into it. I've learned that if there are beliefs within our subconscious that are holding us back, it's nearly impossible to break free of them unless you confront them head on, understand them, and then actually release them. And these subconscious beliefs and patterns, these are what run on autopilot, and they may not make you happy, and 99% are the chances they're not making you happy. They're actually preventing you from being happy, but they're keeping you safe. Or so they believe, and our body's only intention in this life is to keep us safe. So you found this pattern when you were a kid, and at one time it helped you. It helped you feel safe, and your body goes, okay, well, I didn't die, so let's just keep doing this because I'm safe. Might not be happy, but I know that I will live if I continue this pattern. So yeah, you may be miserable, but being alive is better, so I'll take miserable. So what we need to do is reteach and rewire these beliefs, because being alive in caveman days was all that mattered, but we're far past those days of just a survival mindset. We deserve to be happy, feel joy, and do what excites us in this lifetime. And that starts by rewiring these old circuits. So my hope is that you hear pieces of your own journey in mine. And I hope you realize that healing is possible. It's actually inevitable. And when you stop letting these fears write your future, you actually get to do what excites you and actually follow those dreams. So each belief that I'm about to share is tied to a real moment in my life, moments where I had a choice to stay small or bet on myself. And I'm starting with the one that has really run the deepest for me. And this is the belief that I wasn't good enough. This belief, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, is one of the deepest, and honestly, it still comes up. It's like an onion. There really are so many layers to it. And every time I think that I've healed it, something in life just seems to peel back a new layer. It wasn't just a single thought. It's been an entire web of patterns wrapped around it. These patterns that I've really uncovered through digging through my journal were believing that I had to be perfect in order to be accepted. That was one of them. Another one was believing that my value came from what I could achieve or produce. I didn't just believe that I was good enough just being. I had to do or achieve or produce to be worthy. The next one was feeling like if I wasn't doing something impressive, that I was basically invisible or invaluable. So this was always why I was chasing after academics, shining, being on stages, becoming Miss Saskatchewan, becoming, in bikini competitions. All of these things made me feel worthy because they were impressive. And I was constantly comparing myself to everyone around me and always landing in the same place, feeling behind, feeling less than, and living with this relentless, exhausting voice in my head telling me that unless I was extraordinary, I was forgettable, was really shitty. And all of these patterns, the perfectionism, the overachieving, the constant comparison, and the fear of being invisible, they were all rooted in the same deep fear that being me wasn't enough. If I didn't perform, if I didn't produce, impress, or be extraordinary in some way, I wasn't worthy of being seen, loved, or valued. And it wasn't just about being productive or impressive. It was about trying to survive the feeling that who I was at my core would never be enough. And all of those emotional patterns are ways of trying to earn what I feared I didn't deserve by just existing: love, validation, safety, visibility, and acceptance. So I really dug in, and there has been a lot of memories that came up with this one. And it was really hard to just pick one to share. We'd probably be here for 30 hours if I shared them all. But I picked one that really came up from my life and seemed to fit, that it just kind of screamed out like, this might be one that has been deeply rooted in you. And from a very young age, I've always felt different. And in being different, I always felt like attention was on me. And not always in a good way. I never felt like it was good attention. And one of the really deep memories that I remember is being a little girl at church. And in the church that I was in, there was always the common people, but then there was the people called the elders. So they were like the authority. You looked up to them, you admired them, you kind of praised them for being these important people that, were special, that deserved more. And their children also were looked at that way. And I remember one of these elders' daughters coming up to me and looking down on me, like this feeling of like looking at me as if I was less than, and, shaming me, excluding me. And at the time I made the belief, I thought that it was maybe because of the dress that I was wearing. It was secondhand. It wasn't brand new. My mom probably got it from a garage sale. Maybe because my family was middle class. Maybe because my dad wasn't an elder. Because of me, maybe because I wasn't good enough, I didn't deserve to fit in, maybe because I was different. And I remember this feeling in my chest of not feeling good enough to fit in with this group of girls. And this core belief has played out in my whole life, and it still comes around now as an adult. And in this moment as a little girl, I had this realization. I could morph, that I could change my true self. I could adapt to these other people's lives so that maybe I could just be worthy enough to fit in or feel to be included. And I believe that I had to do this. I had to morph who I was to deserve their friendship. And I believe that I deserve to be treated this way, or why else would someone do that? And as a little kid, it's really hard to understand what would make someone treat you this way for no reason. So I did the thing that made sense. I changed who I was to fit in. And these things continue to happen throughout my life. They only reinforce this belief, and it was deeply ingrained. You're not good enough as you are, so you need to change the parts of you so that they will be good enough to be accepted. Now, you may say, that's silly. Really, that's what made you start believing that? And no, there were probably earlier events that happened, but as a child, we don't really have this ability to rationally think and sort these events and make sense of them. And what I realized during my moment of healing when I went back to this memory was, what if I didn't belong because I was meant to be different? Like, what if God created me for something so special that I wasn't meant to belong? If I had belonged, I wouldn't have felt this way. I wouldn't be in this space sharing these moments. And what if God really wanted me to experience these things so that I could be here to share this? And I never belonged. And I think people felt that, but not in the way that maybe I believed. But I don't think I was confident enough in myself back then to know or understand that it's okay to be different. I don't need to belong anymore. What I need to be is authentically myself, to be brave and accept my differences as gifts. And this is something that I have really embraced and am starting to just be. I'm no longer caring what people think about me. And it has really given me this freedom. But this has been a major healing moment. It didn't just happen overnight. It didn't just be like, oh, yeah, I'm different. I'm going to roll with that. No, it has been like time and effort, and something happens and I'm like, oh my God, I need to hide who I am again. And just recognizing this pattern has allowed me to heal. Like, hey, no, I'm not going back. I'm not going to hide. I'm different, and that's okay. And that has been my superpower. So if you're feeling this way too, uncovering these stored beliefs in your mind is really the first step to releasing. If you don't identify how and when it happened, it's harder to rewire these beliefs. Your mind needs proof, and it needs this moment of, aha, wow, oh my God, I can see where it came from. And this is when your mind starts to release these beliefs. And that's really why hypnotherapy is so powerful. I had someone on Instagram say the other day to me that hypnotherapy is just a Band-Aid. And I don't believe that at all. Now, you're not going to instantly be a brand new person. People think like, okay, I have a hypnotherapy session, it's magic, but it's not magic. But here is what's magical. When you uncover the root of a belief that's been quietly shaping your life for years, the moment your mind connects the dots and sees, oh, light bulb, this is where that came from. That's the start of real healing. So hypnotherapy isn't a Band-Aid. It's actually a flashlight. It guides you into the subconscious mind, the place where your deepest programming lives. And these aren't just thoughts you think. They're beliefs your body feels as truth. And when you meet them at the source, not with judgment or shame, but with an awareness, that's when something powerful shifts. You're not running on autopilot anymore, and you start choosing. Hypnotherapy helps you rewrite the script, and not from the surface, but it goes into this deep level of where change actually sticks. And that's why it's so transformative. And that's why it actually lasts. Because when the root is healed, the pattern doesn't need to repeat anymore. And our mind is the most powerful tool we have. Whatever we tell it, it will believe. So here are some really powerful things, some reframes that I started telling myself so that my brain and I could stop believing that we were unworthy. So one of the things I started saying to myself is, being me is enough, and it always has been. Another one is, my bigness isn't a threat, it's a gift. Another one is I was never supposed to be anyone else. So I love myself just the way I am. Another one was I am worthy just as I am in my current state and good things are coming. I don't have to do or be anything to manifest what I desire. I don't need to be impressive to be important. And the last one, this one really hits, is I was never too much. I was just surrounded by people who couldn't meet my depth. Let's be honest for a second. If everything you want actually showed up this year, money, success, ease, would you actually feel it and allow your body to relax, or would it begin to panic? Because day 2 isn't about goals, it's about the belief that says, I don't deserve wealth. And if that belief is still running, no vision board in the world is going to be able to override it. So episode 2 is for the part of you that's ready to finally feel safe receiving. It's an identity switch. Let's get into it.